Okay, hi. I'm dressed like this, and I'm wearing my purple hoodie like this because I just got finished with my Jupiter prayer. So my Jupiter ritual at my Jupiter altar, so don't come for me. I know I look wild, but I don't care. I have a couple of bones to pick, and I have a soapbox that I need to stand on top of right now and today because I can't take it anymore. One, I am sick and tired of Astro Twitter. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. I'm so sick and tired of the terrible information being spread around on that app. It drives me up a wall. I don't like it. It drives me up a wall, and I hate to see misinformation just going viral on the internet. I hate it. It's so annoying. I honestly, truthfully think that every single person needs to begin learning astrology with traditional. I think that everybody needs to go back to the fundamentals. They need to pick up a traditional astrology book, and they need to learn. And guess what? I have a couple of recommendations. To start, to get the basics down on the heavenly spheres. 10 out of 10, would recommend this book. It's absolutely amazing. They go through everything. Can you see this? Don't look at my face. Can you see that? The planets, the signs, essential dignities, the houses, the aspects, chart dynamics, condition of the planets, fixed stars, the parts, power of the planets. It goes through all of it. This is a manual. This is a book that I always re-reference, always. Because they give you such amazing, basic, foundational, fundamental understandings of astrology that are just so straightforward. They're so straightforward. It's just amazing. It goes through it all. There are some things that annoy me. This is something that's with me personally. When it comes to analyzing the signs, I don't care about masculine and feminine signs. I don't give a fuck about those things. I don't. And they're in here. And this is something that I will say. They do have Cancer is a feminine sign, I guess, but your follow-up needs to be, it's a feminine sign because of my socialized ideas of what femininity is, and maybe I need to analyze what my socialization of femininity, what that actually means for me as a person, and maybe I need to check in on my internalized oppressive ideologies that are within me. I don't know. Another soapbox for another day, but this is an amazing resource. I totally recommend this. I always re-reference it. They go through the planets. They give you very basic and straightforward significations of things. And they even give you it goes through the nature of the signs. Aries. This is that shitty masculine thing that I was talking about, but Aries, masculine. Diurnal, of fire, melancholic, cold and dry, fixed or solid. Oh wait, no, I'm reading the wrong one. Right, as I was reading, I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like Aries at all. But back to Aries. It was diurnal, of fire, choleric, hot and dry, cardinal or movable, ruled by Mars. The combination of fire and cardinality makes a very rapid and dynamic expression with great brilliance and energy. The ruler, Mars, gives it a courageous nature, which may exaggerate its tendencies to the point of aggression. That's very true. I can be aggressive at some points. Seriously, and I feel like this whole video has been Aries. It's just very aggressive. Basic significations, signs, planets. This is good for getting all the stuff down separately. But for synthesis, for reading birth charts, I have another book. You all, and I'm sick and tired of this because the traditional astrologers, the trad brads on Twitter, I'm so mad at you for deterring people away from learning traditional astrology. I'm so pissed at you. And if anybody out there has been on Twitter and they have been personally, and not even just on Twitter, on the internet, and they have been personally victimized by a traditional astrologer, contact me. Because if I know them, I'm going to step to them and I'm going to say something. But if you don't want me to say anything, if you don't want me to step to them, I won't. But if you just want to come and talk to me about it, talk to me about the experiences that you had, please DM me on Twitter, because I'm really sick and tired of there being a small handful of people. Like there's this one guy that I can think of off the top of my head who's also on YouTube. Not SJ, we love SJ. There's another one. And on Twitter, he just talks shit sometimes. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like it's funny to us, but like, no, you're a white man. You can't joke around like that. Like, you're a white man. You can't, I'm sorry. Because it's just different. Like the context is very different when white men are like, you all are so stupid. How come you haven't been reading circle charts this whole time? It is a very different connotation when a white man says that versus when if I were to say that. Because also I would say it with a lot more care, and I would be like, hey, I know that the charts on Cafe Astrology are easier to understand, but honestly, truthfully, you're gonna learn a lot more once you start getting into the circle charts. But if it takes you some time to get into the circle charts, that's okay, because they are daunting. And we all started out, I started out by looking at table charts of my friends and just being like, tell me your birth time, call your mom and ask her right now, doing that. So back to the other book rec. Astrology and the Authentic Self by Demetra George. One of the greatest, most life-changing, pivotal books in my entire astrology practice. I recommend this book to people all the time. I recommend Demetra George to people all the time. We stand Demetra George. In this household, Demetra George is an icon. She's an icon in every household, should be an icon in every household, but she is one in this one. Demetra is amazing. Anyway, this book is absolutely fabulous because it's integrating traditional and modern astrology to uncover the essence of the birth chart. I really do think that modern astrology, it slaps sometimes, because it definitely does address the surroundings of a person, like people's experiences, as contributing to their psychological makeup and then therefore themselves. That is very valid. Like having Saturn in the first house in Aries definitely is like all Saturn in Aries, infall, da 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 da, cool, but also psychologically and like in my actual experiences, that being told no has really done a number on me. Like being told to slow down and that the time isn't right and having just crippling anxiety about things sometimes has really done a number on me. So it's very valid, you know what I mean? And it's definitely been something that I needed to heal from and to work through. But that's also not true for everybody with Saturn and Aries in the first house. So it's this really funky thing, but nevertheless, this is a great book. She goes through laying the foundation, the grammar of the astrology, determining planetary condition, overview of the chart, the ascendant ruler, life direction, the sun, the moon, and life purpose, timing, the lunar phases, the nodes, eclipses, the asteroids, aspect patterns, all that great jazz. Demetra's no joke. And this book is it's just awesome because she goes through, it's like Aries, the need to be independent and develop self-awareness. That's very Aries. Taurus, the need to be resourceful and get productive results. Well, I don't know about that one. Gemini, the need to communicate and make mental contact with others. Cancer, the need to give and receive emotional warmth and security. Well, get the productive results for Taurus is a little, I don't know. It depends on the Taurus. But she goes through like the houses, and then what I love is that at the end of each little section, she'll break down like a chart that she's analyzing. So she pulled up a chart from like someone, I don't know if you can see that. And then at the end of the chapter, she's like, Bill has Sagittarius rising on the ascendant, Libra culminating at the midheaven, Gemini setting on the blah, 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 blah. And then she really walks you through like analyzing the planets, analyzing them in a house, analyzing them in a sign. And it's just like absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I totally recommend that book, especially if you're trying to read and interpret and analyze birth charts. I'm pretty sure Demetra started out with modern astrology, and then with the revival of traditional astrology, started focusing on trad. And that's what happened with a lot of traditional astrologers. It fell out of popularity for a really long time because Christian people in Europe hate astrology and magic. But it had a revival. I'm pretty sure it was in the late 90s, and that's how Chris Brennan found astrology, was through Project Hindsight, which is like this whole like traditional astrology revival thing that took place. And that's what happened for a lot of them, starting out with modern and then finding traditional astrology, gaining access to it, and being like, wait a second, this shit's actually really wild. Like, sect was not spoken about in modern astrology at all. Day charts versus night charts, not spoken about. Annual perfections, not spoken about. Time lords, not spoken about. Because those things are very fatalistic. And I think people are afraid of fate. People are afraid of realizing and accepting the fact that, like, honestly, truthfully, you do not have as much control as you think you do over your life. You don't. You don't. And at some point, you just have to, all you can control is yourself. All you can control are your individual actions and the things that you're doing, and that's it. So, get this book. Get this book if you have the money. If you don't have the money, I really want to, like, upload some, like, pictures of some things that really stick out to me. I don't know how, but, like, this one was only $24.95, and this one was, I don't know, oh, it says $39.95. This one's, I'm pretty sure this is a little bit more expensive, but it's still something that you're gonna be using this for a while, and it's definitely very, very worth it. Astrology in the Authentic Self taught me so much astrology, and it's like one of the greatest tools. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, one more thing. This isn't really for learning astrology per se, but if you are a traditional astrologer and you have been working with the 7 trad planets, and you've been, like, especially as, like, queer and just queer astrologers and non-white astrologers, sometimes some things are really annoying, like about the whole masculine feminine bullshit that I was talking about with the signs. And this book is it's currently changing my life. Like, I started reading it when I first got it a while ago, but now it's actually really, like, I've been jumping around and it's been incredible. Post-Colonial Astrology by Alice Sparkly Cat. What? By Alice Sparkly Cat. This is a book that I never knew I needed until I got it. And I was, well, I think I definitely knew that I needed it. I was like, I wonder if there's a book out there that's like social justice and astrology combined, but not like doing the astrology of social justice movements. I want to learn about astrology through the lens, or learning about, like, post-colonialism and society through the lens of astrology. And that's what this book is. Ace is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Mercury in Pisces. Shout out to the Mercury and Jupiter ruled signs, because we're onto something. We're onto something. Literally, they go through the planets and they're like the etymology of the sun, etymology of the moon, Saturn, capital, the luminaries in Saturn, etymology of Venus, etymology of Mars, power of Venus and Mars, etymology, blah, 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 blah. Goes through all of them. This book, incredible. It really does call you to analyze how you are interpreting the planets, how you're interpreting their energies, and comparing that to Greco-Roman culture and Western culture in contemporary society. This book, absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's one of those, like, if you want to think about astrology, this is it. And I love thinking about astrology. So this one is definitely a must-have, a must-keep in your lib. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, people need to read. People need to pick up books and stop reading things online. Stop reading. Stop, please. My God, stop. Because there are astrologers out there who need the money. So you need to buy shit from astrologers who are, you know, whatever, an individual, not the corporation. I don't know. I'm very, like, individual to individual, not corporation to individual. But I don't really know if I can hop on that soapbox until I detach and divorce myself from Amazon and 2-day free shipping. But that's a topic, that's a story for another. Oh, and then one more book. Actually, a couple of more books. Looking. Oh, this one. No, actually I have one that I'm like, this one is actually like, this one's the truth. Okay. This book right here, sorry. Wait, can you see me? This is my bookshelf. Can you see my bookie? All right, one more book that I think is so incredibly necessary. Where is it? It's right here. This one, Mythic Astrology. This book right here changed my life. Many astrology books changed my life, but this one definitely changed my life. I love a good story. Always have, always will. Mythology has always been something that was so interesting to me throughout my entire life. I studied Latin in middle school and a second in high school, and I've always just loved Greek mythology. I always just thought it was so, I just love stories. I'm a Sag, duh. This book I found because I watched the astrology podcast episode of Venus retrograde periods, and Ariel Gutman was on it, and she's one of the writers of this book. She was talking about Venus retrograde cycles and those sorts of things, and like the star periods and shit like that. Really cool stuff. 10 out of 10 recommend that episode, because we do have a Venus retrograde coming up at the end of 2021 in Capricorn. Venus always stations retrograde and direct in the same 5 signs every so often. I forget what the length of time is. So she's gonna station retro in Cap, and like really close to Pluto too, in December. So we're gonna keep our eyes out for that, but you should definitely watch that Venus retrograde video. I'll link it in the description below. I've really learned a lot, and as I said, I was put onto this book. Mythic Astrology is absolutely amazing because they go through the myths of the signs and the planets, period. Like, they go through the myth of, let me just read you, the sun. You see? This is the, you see all that? You see? Do you see? Ah! All of it. They go through all the planets, all the way through Pluto. So we don't just stop at the 7 trads, we go to Pluto, the zodiac, the elements, the modalities, all the signs, and it's just amazing. Truthfully, I have not read the myths of the signs just because, I like reading the myths of the planets a little more, just because I'm very familiar with Greek myth, and I know who Zeus is, you know, and I know who Juno is, or Hera. I know who Kronos is. I know those, like, I know Aries, Aphrodite, like, you know, Hermes. I know them. So I've really been focusing on the planets, but honestly, truthfully, it really helps. It has really helped me to understand Saturn, especially having Saturn in the first house. Reading the myth of Kronos, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's me. That is energy that I feel like I've had all my life, and it gives you a story. You know what I mean? It gives you different. It gives you a middle, a beginning, an end, different points, different access points, or different perspectives on the manifestation of one thing. And I love that because it shows you how it's going to manifest over the course of time and throughout, like, interacting with other people and all that sort of stuff. Because in myths, these folks, these deities, these gods they're interacting with each other, and they're interacting with like humans and shit like that. So it's really cool to compare these things with like actual lively events. And in Post-Colonial Astrology, actually, and I'm pretty sure I read this yesterday, Ace was talking about how, okay, sorry, it stopped recording for some reason, but like, yes, okay, here it is. On page 204 of Post-Colonial Astrology and the etymology of Jupiter, Ace says, although the Greeks and Romans framed mythological events poetically, Bachofen, I think, is an important person in history. They talk about it, but I'm not going to get into deeds. Bachofen sees mythology as descriptive and historical. All the myths relating to our subject embody a memory of real events experienced by the human race. They represent not fictitious, but historical realities. Their stories of the Amazons and the Bellerophon are real and not poetic. So it's not so much of like mythology being something that's just stories and just poetry, but it's also speaks to history and speaks to our social context and our social backdrop in this world. Absolutely incredible resources, incredible books that I totally recommend everybody to purchase. Everybody always recommends Chris's Hellenistic Astrology book. It's a great book. I have it right here. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. But would I recommend it for beginners? No. Look at how thick this shit is. But it is amazing to keep on your bookshelf, because if you ever need to get the history of something, I was like, oh, who is this astrologer and what were they doing? I literally can pull out this book and like, it's like a database, I feel like. It's just so amazing. I'm glad that I have this resource in my library. and I really think that people should have it, but for the sake of like learning astrology, it doesn't really make it fun. And I'm really big on making learning fun. It's definitely a textbook. It's a textbook. So if you like learning from textbooks, then definitely do that. But I guarantee you, it's going to get vastly more complicated the moment you open that book. I promise. Just something to keep in mind and to remember. Because I haven't even gone through that whole book yet. Zodiacal releasing? What is that? I have no idea. No, I do. I know what zodiacal releasing is. I've studied it, but it's just not my it's not my timing technique just yet. I need to practice astrology for a lot longer, and I went to like take a course in zodiacal releasing / like meet with an astrologer about it and learn about it first before I'm like, all right, no, I'm really diving in. Because I've looked at like my peak periods and shit like that, but I've never actually like tried it on anybody else. My friend John, who you all know, who's been on here before, they do zodiacal releasing readings, but I still haven't booked that reading yet, and I need to do that. I just don't have money right now. Let's see, are there any other books that I really recommend that are like, you all need this? If you're like super beginner and you just want something cute and fun that has like cute graphics, this book, Astrology, Using the Wisdom of the Stars in Your Everyday Life, this is amazing. This is a really cute, it's so cute. Like, it's so cute. It has this cute little, like, look at how pretty it is. It's so pretty. Like, it's such a pretty, like, hold up. It's such a pretty book. Like, look at how gorgeous. They go through the signs, they go through the houses, all that stuff. Like, don't look at my toes. It's so cute. Like, I really recommend that. That's a really good piece of literature to have. When I first started out, when I was like writing horoscopes and stuff like that at the very beginning of my journey, I would look in this book and I would get like really basic significations of like the signs and just some adjectives that you need. This is great. Oh, my battery's about to die. It's probably gonna die right now, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Bye everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Okay, have a good day, and I hope this wasn't too bad. I hope this wasn't too long. And I'll probably will come back with more book recs at some point. Okay. And become a patron of my Patreon and support free content and get forecast info, and yeah. Shout out to all of them. We have our first meetup on August 5th for Jupiter's moons. Okay, bye. Was there anything else? That's it. Okay, bye. Ah!